Well, the platform for the inauguration is almost complete. They're putting the finishing touches on it. And I think America, with good reason, is excited with new hope, the idea of change. This is something we need in our country. We've obviously gotten bogged down in many areas. But I'm afraid as I walked in the Senate chamber today, I smelled the same stale air of good old boy, backslapping, pork barrel, lobbyist-driven politics. Folks, we're here on a Sunday voting about something in the middle of a recession, very difficult economic times, many critical issues, but the majority has asked us to come back today to vote on a conglomeration of bills which no one has read. I know that the chairman said that it's been, the committee has had it posted on the committee site for a few days, but as of Friday, if anyone in America wanted to go to the official Senate website, or if the media wanted to find out what was in this bill, it was not available to them. And most members of the Senate, I would suspect all except maybe for Tom Coburn and maybe a few others, have not even read this bill. Last week, all of us came in here, and if we didn't take the oath of office ourselves, we listened to others take it many times. And that oath didn't say that I was to be here and to defend and protect what's right for South Carolina, or get everything I could for Oklahoma, or Utah, or Alaska. But it asked us to defend and protect the Constitution, which prescribes a very limited government, very limited function for the federal government. All of our freedoms are really dependent on that. Yet, we're about the old business today of how can we put together a bill that will almost force a majority of the Senate to vote for it. I know that the different members know a section of this bill, the part that's for their state, and that's good. We need to look out for our states, but we need to look out for our country. And we've never been in a time in our country where we've had so much debt and so much spending and so much uncertainty. How can we come here today and say, I've got what I want, do you have what you want, let's everybody get what they want, and let's ball it up and vote for a bill that we haven't had hardly any debate, no amendments are allowed, 1,300 pages that no one has read, 160 bills put together that none of us really know what are in here, and Americans don't know what they're here. And here we've all been asked to miss church, leave our families, and come here and vote on this bill. As we think about change in our country, I hope we can all think about how we can change this place. Because the Senate seems to be that last obstacle for everything that we need to change. Because we can't continue to pass bills by putting together a little bit of what everybody wants and forgetting what's good for our country. We've been doing this for years. And that's how this country has gotten into so much debt and it's put such pressure on our economy, taken so much money in taxes out of the private sector that the private sector no longer works. As Senator Coburn has said, I know there are many things in here that represent years of work and are a lot of good things. But in these times when people are out of work and we're looking around for how can we find the money we need to fix the problems, if we actually took the time to read what's in this bill, the majority of Americans, I can say this with confidence, would say this is not right. We should not have to pass all of these things that are not needed in order to get those things that are. We know we don't need $5 million for botanical gardens in Hawaii and Florida. That may be a wonderful thing to do. But in these times, when we're asking Americans to sacrifice, when we're mortgaging the future of our children for what we're spending today, it doesn't make any sense to put that in a bill so we could get somebody's vote. We don't need $14 million for tropical research in Panama. Senator Coburn has mentioned it, but I mean, other things, but we don't need $12 million for the Orchid Museum in Maryland. These are all good things. But this bill is full of these things. And there's nobody that's going to be voting here today that knows all those things that are in here. If we continue to do business this way, the change that we're hoping for, that we're going to be looking at a historical spectacle in a couple of weeks of inauguration of a new president that I hope will represent just a new generation of thought in America. I just plead with my colleagues. I know this is going to sail through here today. Everyone's come back to vote because there have been press releases on so many different items in this bill. But if we continue to go through this year where anyone who asks for an amendment or maybe a few moments of debate is made a spectacle of by saying, we're going to be here this weekend to vote. If you don't give me unanimous consent to do this vote when I want to, you can't have an amendment. If my colleagues on my side continue to accept this, there's going to be no such thing as a Republican Party. And this country that we love will continue to deteriorate. I encourage all my colleagues to maybe think twice. You may have something that works for you in this bill, but this bill does not work for America.